We are live. Welcome, every guys. Welcome, everyone. Should say we are live once more from the garden. I appreciate you guys for taking your time to join me on this live. We're gonna be doing some bushcraft today, so to join the live, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Will be greatly appreciated as well. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing a little bushcraft today. I'm gonna demonstrate some. I'm gonna demonstrate here with the machete. Now I have a few different machete going on here. This is the one I'm gonna be working with today, guys, as I tell you before. This is that Martindale one that made in England. I have a couple of them. These are the 26 inches. They're called 26. So I have a couple of them, but this one I'm gonna work with for this season. I had one of these, some years back. I first when I came here 2013, I brought from Jamaica. But some landscaper took it from my yard, so I'm gonna be sharpening this one. This one is the same type. And this one I have from 2013 as well when I first moved here. But this is called a hooky. As you can see, you have this hooky here at the end. So it's more of a bigger heavier machete, guys. So more of a deforesting, cutting down trees, more heavier load. So we're not gonna be busy with this. So right now, as you can see, I was using my friskers this whole time. I never have sharpened the friskers before, but if you look, I was sharpening it earlier. So I'll be sharpening it in a moment here and demonstrate. But right before we go into all of this, I'm gonna be handling these file. This is a tool sharpener. We call it file. But and if you do Google file, it'll come up, file tool sharpener. You see all different one. But they might have a different name for it in different country. But we call it file tool sharpener. So I have this copper this copper metal pipe here. I came to start, because typically, guys, we use something like a wood as a handle. But as you can see, sometimes driving this down into the hood or to whatever you use can split it. So my thought that I was gonna wedge this inside this thing here and get it down. So I just need to cut it down slightly a little bit more. I can see. So yeah, if you're joining the live, welcome to my live. This is Nick from Yardman Garden and Arts TV. And we're gonna have a lot going on today in this live and demonstrate to you guys. So yeah, we're just gonna try to get this thing down in here as deep as we can so that when we go you can see this thing is moving already. Hold on, guys. Try this from the other angle. I wanna get most as I can down in it, but I can see this need to be shaved off a little bit more. I don't want to take off too much, guys, because I want it to be pretty dense and not dense to say. I want it to sit pretty firm down in the pipe. Hey, if you're joining the live, welcome to the live. I know that this is the first part of the live, so we haven't been getting warmed up yet, really. So be with me here a second. Here we go. I think that's better. And see, now I'm losing my I thought that this was cool for a moment, but maybe we're gonna end up losing it. But we're not gonna waste time on that right now, guys. Yeah, this is what we want. Much of this piece of wood to go down into the pipe is what the mission is. And it's going pretty deep. Let me see. I want to try to see how far it's coming up. A little bit more, I guess. Hey guys, I thought this was pretty clever as far as coming up with this idea. Nice. This is what I went for. So you see all that nice wedge of this which I'm gonna be using this again for another purpose, which is for this smaller one. This is another file as well, but this is more of a smaller one, great for knife and that type of tool. But now that we get our thing figured out, normally guys you have this and they try to wedge it into a handle, is what we call it, something like this. As you see, it's pretty thick, and sometimes try to use a bigger piece of board or wood or whatever stick. It can just be too much for the handle, to grip. So like something like this size is a nice size, but if you try to wedge this in here without any protection, it might split. You know what I mean? It's good you can use a bigger piece and then shave it down like I did to smaller after you drive this thing in. But I saw this thing was just garbage really anyway, guys. But look at that, and look how perfect this is gonna work. So I'm just gonna put this right in the middle here. You can see right in the middle, and then I'm gonna wedge it down. So yeah, we have a perfect handle for try to make a groove. So I follow, so I hit the middle directly. Oh man, see that's the only problem now I see. Okay, I see what's going on. So guys, I'm gonna need something all the way back here. Let me see how deep this is. So you see, I tried to put it. You see, it's always extra trouble. So it's kind of going down. So I need it all the way. So bear with me here a quick second, and I wanna make this process quick because I have a little help here and the person wanna go their way. So just wanna get this really quick so I can put the tripod in, put the camera in the tripod and stage it. But yeah, sometimes you just don't plan and put everything in thinking, as you go. Sometimes we learn. It's a new process, so I wasn't knowing where I would be experiencing and dealing with this problem. So yeah, I just want to get this in here so that we can go meet the other piece of board and basically get this thing all the way. Hopefully we hit the other piece. It seems like we did hit the other piece, and that's what I exactly want. So yep, we have this coming back up. So I'm gonna cut it again and hopefully it's right this time. All right, losing all my stuff over here. So let's try this again. Oh boy. Let's try this again. Hey guys, this is my wedge that I have in here. I have to put some more in the end so that it meet all the way. Because when I was driving this thing in, it was taking pushing away the board by the piece of wedge I have in it. So to avoid that, here we go. Still going down a bit, honestly, but wasn't even the wrong machete. But yeah, guys, I didn't. This section of the video was unplanned, and I wasn't expecting all this trouble. So next time, I will definitely learn and know what to expect. This is not what I planned for. This extra trouble. What I'm doing now, guys, is very important. Bear with me. I think we finally solve our problem now. I think, or I hope. But yeah. I push it down and it still was pushing down it. So we still, as you see, it's on both ends. But I was wedging it, driving it in, and it was pushing away my wedge still. So I want it to stay right at the end. So when we drive this thing in, you know, it's oh nice. See? That's what I'm going for. So I'm gonna drive this as far as I can. But if this, as you see, guys, if this was the piece of wood alone without the metal frame or the copper frame protecting it, it would have split. And that's exactly what's going on here. So you're seeing it splitting, but it's in the copper, so it's gonna be protected. Nice. We're gonna satisfy with this at the moment, but demonstrate real quickly this machete was going already. So it's the first time I'm sharpening this crystal machete, guys. So as you can see, finally we have some sharp edges. You can see the newly sharpened, newly metal exposed. But a safe way to sharpen machete, guys. As you see, this is the machete in my hand. This is the blade. This is not the perfect machete, for example, because we still have the danger of these saw blade here at the end. So for example, this one, or a new 26 that we're gonna sharpen. But anyway, you have your machete in your hand, you go to sharpen, you know, this side, as you see is the blade. You don't want to be sharpening towards the blade, guys. So you know what I mean? So if, as an example, you can see what I'm doing. You rub and go, you're going, your finger going towards the blade, so that's not the right way. You always want to turn the blade away from you. So like for example this, you want to sharpen it from the back, even though I said that you do have the trouble of this back here. So, and when you do turn around and have to sharpen the other side, you know, this side same thing, you turn it that way and always sharpen it from the back, so that when you go, your hand is going away from the blade. The hardest part is really to sharpen it is always the front part or the point of the machete. It's right at the front. So always you have your finger right there. But in reality, you can sharpen it this way, obviously. You just have to be extra careful, you know, when you go down in the depth of it. You don't want to push too hard and then, you know, slip. Because I've seen it before. Slip and just cut your hand and a sharpen machete. So this machete is kind of sharpened now. I'm going to give you an example here because I need to get these extra weed in it. Man, that's crazy. That is sharp, man. Very, very sharp. It's gonna be burning a fire right here, so get these things prepped. But yeah, I've been having trouble with this piece of tree. It's tree, I should say, piece of tree. But this patch of bush for a while. They always spring back every season. And it really doesn't do much. Don't really have much blooming for it, towards it. So I always find myself cutting it down. So you see how machete can be sharp, guys? I always said use your machete with safety and caution. See that difference so quick? Try to get as much as I can in this one. Oh yeah, we're gonna burn a fire in this spot right here. Hey, now my friskers is running great. So I'm gonna put this in the tripod here soon and continue my demonstration. Hey guys, see what we got going on. Bring this tripod over here. Hey guys, we already got a nice running in the garden at the moment. Got some tomatoes so far going. Got a lot more going on right here as well. We need to get these in the soil. So we're prepping the land more and creating better space. Get this thing down in the tripod here so that we can yeah, welcome to the live guys. We appreciate you for joining the live and taking the time out. Got a little going on. Check this floss thing here of marigold. Live and direct. Zoom in here on this thing a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna set up the handle for the other side and see what we do. This wood is you know, you can see, you know, I was working with the hammer, so I kind of split this end, so I'm gonna have to cut it and create more solid surface that we can work with. This piece of thing is split open, guys. Definitely don't want that, you know. I want it to be solid. Alright, let's see. Hopefully this works though and it doesn't split on me, because anything is possible. Alright. Yeah, this is our big tool sharpener, machete sharpener, aka file. So we just handled a while ago. We're gonna use this for the smaller one, but I don't really see where my file went. It fell somewhere here, but See where it dropped. See maybe if it's over this side here. It's strange. I know I had it a while ago. I took it up and showing the video, so I don't know where I set it down. I thought I set it here, but I was hammering things, so you know it might fell off. But so far I haven't set my eyes on it yet. Pretty strange. Well, in the meantime, we did take care of the bigger one. Now we have the smaller one here that I'm looking for, but this is the handle for it. You can see just I think like a piece of broomstick. You know, it probably wouldn't work for this one. As you see, I cut this down narrow, wedge it into the copper pipe so that we have that seal protection. As you can see, it did split the wood, but it's in the pipe, so we have that protection. And I was having trouble with the wood, didn't came all the way through, so when I was hammering, this thing was pushing back with all that pressure. Was wedging this away, so I have to cut, as you see, bring the wood all the way through here so that we have that support. Well, in the meantime, I'm not sure where my other tool sharpener went. Pretty strange. Actually, this is a special plant I recognize over here that I need to protect. I was actually stepping on it. Oh yeah, we're just gonna continue. Maybe I find that other one reveal itself while we're going. But yeah, so far I'm not sure where. Oh, here we go. And that's pretty wild. I see why I couldn't find it. It's all buried in the soil, guys. This is what I was looking for. I'm gonna give it a little quick wash off. Even though water and moisture does get this thing rusty quicker. But it's still brand new. I'm gonna wash it off so it dry pretty quick. Here we go. I'm gonna wash it off though. Wash it off already. I'm gonna dry it off some more so that it doesn't get rust. There's both of them. This one is handle in a copper handle. This one is gonna try to put it in that piece of stick that we cut, a piece of that broom handle. Now, so hopefully it doesn't split that. This is our piece. As you can see, the bigger one probably wouldn't work. It would have split it open when you go to wedge it in. So it's kind of create a handle. Hopefully we don't split it as we go. Try to see which side may be the best. That's not showing any sign of splitting already. We're gonna go with this side. I'm gonna make sure I try to center it down the middle, guys, you know. Hopefully we don't experience a split. Let's see. Try to go nice and slow. And you know it's already showing sign of split, guys. So who knows? I might save myself some time and not bother with it, because if I wedge it more, as you see, it's gonna split. So maybe I should use a screw or a drill, kind of pre-drill a hole in it, and you know, because this is just such a nice handle. I wanna destroy it, and if I try to wedge it more, you see right there, it's starting to split almost already. So we're gonna set this aside for now. But yeah, same concept, guys. The sharpening a machete, you always wanna be behind the blade. This is the blade as we're gonna get. This is pretty brand new still, so the blade is not sharpened, or it doesn't have any edge in it in any sense of sharp. So a brand new one like this does take a lot of effort and time consuming as far as sharpening it. A lot of pressure and them fingers to, you know. But yeah, always wanna keep yourself away from the blade as you go. And even when you have to do the other side, still wanna make sure you flip it. So you see I'm that way. Blade is still turning that way from my hand. You know, flip it to the other side. Still flip it, you know, the handle is at that end. Blade is still away from my hand. So it's a safe way to sharpen your machete, guys. So yeah, something like this is pretty, a thick blade, very thick blade. Yeah, and that's why you really want to have, normally we could be going on like a 3, you know, a 3, I'm saying 3, like it's the number 3, but a 3, you know, you could be pressing your machete point in, you know, on a tree limb or on a tree stump, you know, so that you have that leverage to brace on, you know, because, you know, like as you see I'm doing here, but this thing is kind of wobbly and moving. And there's different grade and different texture to these sharpener, these tool sharpener. Like this side is more rigid, and there's a thicker, a more groove, deeper groove in between this one. So it's good for in the beginning to sharpen your tool to get that metal start, you know, to eat out in the metal, to say, you know, so that you get good grip. Because if after a while you start to lose the groove, then obviously that's how your tool sharpener starting to show a sign of you know, worn out, in the sense that, you know, you won't get good grip to sharpen your tool anymore. So this is a brand new one, so right now we don't have that problem, but we do have it's like sandpaper, guys. You know, they have the thick surface, and they have the more soft, or to say more, you know, less rough, in which, you know, it's more of a refine, you know. So it's the same thing. You use it the more rigid part of it, and then, you know, you gradually move to the more less rigid part, in the sense of, you know, as far as when the machete is already sharpened, you just use the other part to tone it down, you know. But for now I'm using the thicker part, and I can see how much it's wedging. It's actually eating into the metal. So that's a good thing. And like I said, this machete is pretty thick. Yeah, it's gonna take a good minute. But as you see here now, I'm going towards the blade of the machete. You don't wanna do that. So same part, I turn it around. Now the handle is on the opposite side. But and You know, so it's good to have a good surface. Obviously, this is just a plyboard and it's pretty thin. Well, I lose my position where I posted it a while ago. So like I said, it's good to have a good set surface. I just use this area here for demonstration and the quality of the video. But growing up, you know, a lot of time we sharpen machete, we always use like a tree stump, you know, a tree, a live tree or whatever, but we put it to wedge the machete or the tool inside and the tree so that we have that leverage and that brace. Well, you know, you guys get the picture and stuff as far as safe handling of machete, you know, but you can see we still have a thick blade here, not really sharpening done, you know, in this very minute. So probably rest this aside and continue onto something else. We get our both tool sharpener handle, you know, so these are gonna be working our brand new machete this season. So you see, we're getting some type of sharpness, but it's not even close there yet, guys. These are the two, see, hooky. They're gonna go into our little storage collection. So, you know, as you see, I have one that I'm working with right now on the post. That's gonna be our machete for the season. These are just backup. And like I said, I have this one since 2013, but it's more thick, more dense, more for cutting down heavier trees, bigger trees, chopping, you know, bigger limb, firewood and all that type of stuff. Log, you name it. This is called a hooky. As you see, have the hook point here. It's not the best for chopping grass, you know, this more straight one is better. It's a 26-inch. It's in with the same one over there I'm gonna be using this season. But yeah, look at bushcraft here as far as learning to sharpen your machete at the safe angle. So if you join the live on the earlier phase, you already see that part. We're just gonna continue on the live with some demonstration of growing tomato and how we do our vertical tomato to grow them vertical up. So stay with me here. We finally sharpen our Fiskars machete. You can see how now we have a sharp blade. You can see the new sharpen, but as I expressed to you guys, this is my machete I use to work, you know, the badland. So you can see how beat up it is. You know, this, you can tell it's all from chopping on rock stone or what. So this is still gonna be my go-to for just going through the unknown, opposed to that new one I'm working on. You know, I'm gonna be aware of that so I don't chop it on rock. Because start chopping it on rock, guys, that's why you're gonna eventually hear in the angle shaking, ready to fall off, or you're gonna having, you know, your metal all denting and eating up like this. So you don't want that. But for right now, this thing is really sharp. As you can see how it was eating through these limb here. So yeah, it's pretty sharp. I think you can see me done that. So I'm gonna get those. Those are a piece of bad bushes. And I'll be burning a nice little fire in this part here. old Christmas tree, guys. Still pretty, almost green though, you know, it's rare. It's crazy. I think this is couple years and it's so dense at the moment. We're gonna start a fire later on. The perfect thing for the fire here. Dry old Christmas tree. It's gonna be a nice fire when this get going. All right. Yeah, that look a lot more presentable. You know, that's what Machete can do. You know, destroy a lot of bad trees and weeds. That's what Machete can do, you know. So this area, as you can see right now, guys, how different it looks. So awesome, you know. Definitely a beautiful thing. And I turn this into the garden phase here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can tell it's definitely a drone. It's almost sound like a swarm of bees, guys, but obviously it's that one heavier sound, so that's literally a drone that I have. in the background here. So yeah, we're gonna be continuing planting some tomato. We have the Roma tomato going, and we have the Better Boy. These are all Better Boy. Those one right at the front. Yeah. Then we have that's crazy guy. That drone is pretty low to where it is. Yeah, let me show you our taste master. So we have a whole bunch of tomato that we want to put in this side. And we have some kale that's kind of a bit overgrown into the seed starter cell. So definitely badly need to get those in the ground. But the main thing, guys, is that we have a healthy start, and these plants are sitting well and big and healthier than most of what I saw at the store. So I have no complaint. Yeah, we're just gonna continue down the line with these tomato. I definitely want to show you guys some example of how I get them in the ground, what I'm doing. You know what's crazy, guys? You know, this tomato I have actually didn't plant it, and you know, unfortunately, unfortunately, that's one of them that I'm not gonna remove at the moment. I'm not sure what it is exactly. I hope it's a Roma tomato, because I know all these in the back is Roma tomato. You know, so I'm gonna be transplanting some of it, just some of it. I don't want all of it, guys, because I have so much tomato right now, and my tomato is way more established. And you know, but this one is right exactly where I was gonna dig my new hole, so I might not move it. You know, sad to say something like this. I mean, it's still healthy, so I might save it. You know, just to save it. But guys, I really have so much tomatoes. You know, I mean, I really don't really want much tomato at this time. But for the respect of plant and love for plant, you know, I might just save this one right in the very moment here as we stay here on the live in real time. But I have too much tomato to be saving seedling right now. As you can see, nice root. Just give her a nice home. And in reality, a couple weeks this would be a big nice tomato. It'd be really ready to go into the ground, but man, I have so much tomato, guys, you know. Really, really do. I'm still gonna save it though. So this is one of the lucky one that got saved. Give her some water. Yeah, in the next couple weeks I might show you how it's going. Got some marigold I need to plant out in between these, in between all these tomatoes. Yeah, guys, I'm really not trying to save too much tomato that came up by themselves in the ground. But you can see all this Roma tomato that came up. I said Roma because that's where I planted my Roma seeds, and these are all rotten tomato that from last season that was in the ground, and you know, that's all those tomato. So look at that. And some is already crushed and stepped on, as you can see. You know, because some of it is in my way and I'm not really trying to save it. These are my newly planted, so very different. As you can see, I have 3 rows of Roma going already. And I think they're by 7. So 7 going on the line. I already planted some seeds of basil in between. You can see we have marigold already going in between the rows as well. Marigold. So yeah, a beautiful start already. Definitely excited about it. But this one is one of the special one that Polish lady gave me last season, as well as this patch as well. It's some of those some special one. This year I got hot pepper. California Reaper, guys. Definitely a hot pepper. Into hot scorching pepper. And I'll be putting this in one of those. Probably one of these 3-gallon grow bag. And I definitely don't want to plant it directly in the soil. We're gonna do it in a grow bag so we can have it to regrow and restart all season. We're gonna winterize it each season and plant it back at the new season. Yeah, these are just amongst few of the plants. As you can even see right here, we have a good handful of veg I need to get in the ground. You know, these are some Brussels sprout. And on the other side, you see we have another couple kale plant. This is one of our first experiment of the container garden. As I express, I'm gonna be doing a lot into container garden this season, apart from just directly into the ground. So this is our experiment, guys. These are some peas and a radish that I had going in the winter part of the season. And so these are amongst our first seeds. So we had to get them in something. So I put them in here for experiment. They were outside in the back for a while in the shade, you know, and they went through a cold spell as well. So it might not be looking in the best right now, but this is just an example of how we're gonna go crazy this season in our container gardening. And this is also some of it, as far as I need to get these a little more wash and prep and ready. But this one is already wash and clean. I cut extra hole in the bottom of it. So we're gonna be planting some. We got a spearmint, which I'm not sure. You know, a week ago it was inside the house, guys, and these were all from cuttings. But you know, it was so pretty and nice, and now I can see a little bit of, you know, whether you'd call it a type of disease or, you know, mold, in the sense of you know, you just probably wanted to go outside into better space. As you can see, all the spring coming up, you just, you know, wanted more space to grow maybe. So hopefully when I put it in one of these container here, I'm actually gonna do my my mints in container, guys. You know, and then we have oregano. This is also from cuttings. You can see already it's already showing sign of bloom. So when I do repot it, I'm gonna cut these blooms off and get rid of them so that the plant can focus on getting more root structure and build up stronger body form rather than trying to bloom so fast, you know, in just a double cup. It's all the double cup method, but you can see new springing coming out from the ground from it. Something like this just needs space to produce and to get bigger, you know. So I'm gonna be planting mint, my oregano. I'm gonna be doing container for those, and I know those will keep coming back. We got some lemon balm. I'm gonna be planting with the mint as well. So I'm gonna put the mint in the middle and then some new lemon balm at the end. This is a spearmint. I already have, I think that plant is a spearmint. I don't have to plant spearmint, but we're also gonna do some melon. And this is the sugar baby. And I do also some bok choy. That's one of the sugar baby, 68 to 86 days. That's funny. That's like the numbers in reverse. 68, 86. That's basically a 10-day different in the 86. So basically, hopefully when we do plant this, you know, I get more than 60 days instead of waiting 20 more days to harvest. It's a beautiful sage. Guys, you know, these sage are awesome. As far as pollinator, there's so much that come through in this sage throughout the season, guys. It's crazy. You know, from even ants, you can see those ants crawling. Even them to get some of the sugar and the sweetness from these pollen. But the bees, you know, different type of bees as well. Like you have some, I see some fine species type of bees on this sometime, you know, like, man, look how tiny, you know, even that one right now, where is it? Probably not a bees, I'm not sure, but it's some type of flying insect though. Here's another one. Oh yeah, there's a lot of small critters that come up, you know, as well as the honeybees and the bumblebee. Trying to see if I can lock in on one of these smaller bee that I see flying around. Because they're so small, guys. They're like even in the dens between it, so your camera hard to pick them up if I don't find them in time. And those are ants, so they're not bee. You know, we're flying ants. Here's one of them over there. But you get the picture though. These sage, they're definitely a great pollinator along with this oregano. It's another type of oregano. It's not the strongest, honestly. The smaller one, believe it or not, is stronger. You know, you have different type of oregano in the sense of more richness in oil and beneficial medicine. Guys, this is a cool score right here. You know, I always said another one man garbage is another one treasure. This I actually picked this up and across from the front section of the road there, over across the street. You know, they were gonna dump it. So I'm gonna wash it down, clean it, probably sand it off a bit, get those extra rust maybe, and then maybe like spray it with like a protection spray paint. But the only fault, guys, in the sense of anything is this little rust going up the top here, and that's the very top of it. So apart from that, I have 4 nice shelves that I can stage plant. You know, like my seedling. You know, there's time even the other day I had seedling in the back. I had nothing to put them on, and you know, one time I had a bad experience or a accident where quite of my seedling fell. You know, I went back to the back and the wind overnight blow them off where I had them. So this is gonna be a nice thing for me to have. You know, like I said, somebody was throwing it out, and that just go to the dump yard and sit there for a while before it finally get rotten down. Or maybe I don't know if it would end up at the scrap yard. But either way, we're repurposing it. Have a lot going on here, so bear with me with all this. You can see it's all soil, nice black, healthy, rich soil that I brought. You know, some of it I brought from the garden, over by the community garden. You know, so always needing that extra soil, guy, to build up your bed. So can't go wrong with more soil. This, somebody was gonna throw it away. I'm gonna put it to use as well. I'm gonna use it for I'm gonna use this old garbage thing here for liquid fertilizer. You know, so that's what I'm gonna do with this. You know, put plant in it and basically fill it with water. So then it become liquid fertilizer. So you can dilute that, water your plants with it, and grow more organic, less pesticide. But yeah, things are looking good right here so far. You know, apart from those tomatoes that I didn't plant, that's kind of in the way. Things are looking up in this spot right here. But we're gonna continue down the line and continue planting more food. But I definitely want to bring you in guys close as far as what I'm doing here, in the sense of my vertical tomato. You know how to do your vertical tomato right, you know, by planting and then getting your card right as well. So that's what I'm gonna be doing here, guys, taking a little bit more closer to how I've been starting and planting my tomatoes, as far as getting them in right position. So be with me a second here. All right. Back at it right now, so still going live. Hey guys, this tomato is right in the way by itself. This is one of the one that started from last season. Tomato that was sitting here, so we're just gonna continue down the line. That's kind of what I've been doing, guys. Coming in, digging my tomato hole, creating my space for my nice root to get a nice, beautiful start, sitting healthy soil. So I'm just been getting out a little space as far as digging out my tomato hole, and then I add some worm casting and a little bit of my that I've already have sitting here. So that's deep enough. I'm gonna put another tomato right here. These are all little seedling, and I literally cannot have all these going here right now. So even this one, I'm gonna remove this one and replant it. I'll be both of them. Oh yeah, so they're so baby opposed to my already established plant, you know. So I can't leave these in the space and wait on them to get big, as I've already have bigger plants, you know. So that's the benefit of starting the plant inside, having a lot months of growth going. And sometimes my hair does get in my way. That's why I really like to wear my hat, you know. You know me a lot of time, even in the winter, especially when I go to work, I always wear my winter cap. But yeah, even if you're not seeing me so well, I'm gonna be moving this video here shortly. I'm just demonstrating here a bit what I'm about to do. You know, so I think you're seeing me enough. But either way, I'm gonna get more hands-on and show more details as to how I get these tomato in the ground and get them going at a nice vertical grow. Yeah, that's what we're going this season with again. Vertical tomato. So we can, you know, grow more in less space, obviously. We don't have a whole ton of space, so that's what we're doing. So more tomato, less space. We're utilizing the space from by growing vertical. So these are the taste master. Probably a little more than I'm actually gonna plant here in the yard. And then we're doing our aroma, and then we have the better boy going in next in the middle. I'm gonna show you how I go about starting my tomatoes, set them in, and get my string going on them. As you can see, I have my whole prep already. So what I've been doing, guys, I've been stepping on these ones. These are all tomatoes that started by themselves from last season. Tomato rot on the ground. So these are Roma. These are special type that lady gave me. So I might save some of these. Obviously, these bigger Roma I'm save as well. As you see, I just pull this out of the way. But my tomato, guys, as you can see, already so much established. So I can't wait on these to get big. You know, this is one that I just repat because I pull it up and felt sorry for it. But you can't go saving every seedling, you know what I mean? And I just have too much. Even in the back, guys, I have a set of tomato, probably at least 50 tomato, and I'm not even sure exactly what they are. But anyway, so this is one of our tomato. I'm gonna do this one here. Even though I'm looking at my hole already, that is smaller than this pot. So as you can see, I do need a bigger space. Hey guys, don't mind these tomatoes in the sense that they might look close, but we're growing vertical. We're gonna be getting rid of a lot of the extra branches and the sucker limbs of the tomato. We're just gonna keep what's bearing fruit. So that's what vertical tomato is to get them going up straight on the string, and then you prune a lot and get rid of. But look at all that root, just waiting to go in the soil. So this is some mulch, as well as my little worm casting. I know the other day I was on a video, somebody say, why don't I produce my own worm casting? By building a worm bay. I'm gonna be doing that sometime soon, but yeah, for now, I'm just sprinkling a little in the root. And I set her in. Even before I do that, there's different ways of using the string, guys. I wanna show you this way first before I get going. As you can see, my root is set, so this is my string I'm gonna be using. Make sure that I have enough to come up top here. Here we go. I think that's enough, even though, but this is not the longest string, guys. But the whole thing is that you can do it different ways. You can either do this at the plant, when I already have it in, and do like a slip knot, and have your string and have it to come up. And the plant, as it grows, you have it to support it and to keep it firm. But the easier way as well, guys, is in the right moment. As you plant, you can put the string down underneath the root of the plant. So when you set your plant and plant it, the string is already in there coming up. Just weave it a little around the plant, as you see, and that root down in it. Get some of this nice soil and cover my plant. And this soil, guys, is some mulch, some cow manure is in that as well as a little worm casting is in this soil. So this is more of a rich mix that adding nice organic beneficial property to our soil. So yeah, we're getting this now coming up. And like I said, this wasn't the longest string, and me putting it down underneath the plant even narrow it down some more. But either way, we're good, and we can just use this wire actually in the middle here. So I've been just pulling a little bit, getting tension on the wire, as you can see already, on the rope. You can see all the tension already and stuff. So that's what you want when your plant get going, to have a nice firm tension, as tight as possible, so that the plant doesn't fall over. Oh yeah, and then I just come weave it around a little bit and create a little slip knot again. So you can see a slip knot where you pull it through, and that's it, guys. So as the tomato come and growing up, you just weave it around, continue. Let me show you guys one more again here. And I look for my extra string. Take this piece. It's kind of in the way anyway, so I want to finish this demonstration pretty quick too. Now, probably end this live here soon as well. Get going. We're gonna do another live later on in the front yard. Got some cool things going in a way that same thing again, just sprinkle a little bit of my worm casting, get one of my tomato, which again, as I expressed, these are the Roma tomato. It's a great Italian type tomato, guys, and it's great for sauce. Doesn't really have a lot of seeds in it, so it's great for sauce and that type of thing. So set this here a second. As you can see, I kind of tease the bottom of the plant here so that it doesn't sit to where it was sitting in the soil and stuck together. So you kind of release it a bit. That card is there. This one, so same thing. When I do the demonstration from the earthing, it's pretty easy opposed to tying it on the body of the plant, because you can damage your plant kind of tight on the body of it. So this is an easy way to get it over with and done. It's in straightforward. Bury the card underneath the plant, as you plant it. But then you don't have that worries trying to tie the string and the plant itself. But I will also show you that one in a second and stuff. So if you do have to do it, at least you have an idea. how to go about that. So yeah, these are all compost style, and as you can see, my string is already buried. So I will just come, pull it, see if it kind of gather more closer to the plant. That's an easy way. So yeah, it's kind of thick string, guys, but it's fine. This tomato is pretty tiny right now, so as the tomato get bigger, then the string doesn't look as big as it is. But yeah, this is vertical way of growing tomato, guys. So you're using your string for support, and you're using your string for the tomato to climb on and to grow at that vertical level in where you can grow more tomato in less space. So yeah, I'm just, as you see, this is how I do my slip knot. So as you see the card end, this other card, kind of bring it around that side, and then you bring it through. That's called a slip knot, guys. And a slip knot in the sense if this was more room in it, I could pull on the card and it moves, you know, it doesn't stop one place. This is what a slip knot is, so that you can be able to move on the end of the card. But real quick here, I wanna show you guys, if you already put it and there's no, you get this string here. Do this real quick. See, that's what was a slip knot. So you can see how easy I come and get this, even though I ripped that one in. Not sure if this is long enough either. But if it's coming here, maybe it does. Yeah, it's good. But yeah, so if I was, as you see, this one didn't have any string, so it's a perfect one to demonstrate. You know, if you're doing the string from the body of the plant, you know, all these extra limb guys, you can always pick them off. Give the tomato more chance to produce and to get bigger as far as production up to the top, you know, instead of all these extra limbs, even like these right here. You know, some of these doesn't serve much purpose rather than taking away from the plant. You know, these are still maybe a week ago or less than a week I transplant these in here. You can already see some. I plant some basil along here, and I can already see some coming up. But anyway, so this is our strings, and as I show you the slip knot, so of the string at the end, I would come around the body of the plant. This is my other end. This is the other end of the card, so I will go over once, come around. A slip knot is pretty easy, guy, and as you see, and come through the thing. So then as you can see, the slip knot, you can move it, but I'm not putting it too tight on the body of the plant. I'm just giving it that groove and make sure you have that room to play. You know, so I'm not like pulling the slip knot, should say, or the string and the card, and actually, hold on. We lose our tie there. Let me see. Let me put a knot at the end so that this doesn't pull through. You know, this knot will help anchor it so that it doesn't pull through. But yeah, let's go again. So go around, come around, and then you come through. Give you a slip knot. So then yeah, as you can see, I can move it, bring it down at a tighter range, but I don't want it too tight around the body of the plant. Same thing, then I come up top, pull it tighter, bring it over here one more time, and then yeah, this slip knot kind of going around it. Coming over, and then I come through this other hole that I have here. So that's your slip knot right there, guys. So as you can see, this is a good tension. Don't need to be too stiff at the moment, as these tomatoes are pretty young and doesn't have anything, you know, to pull too much weight on this string. So as these tomatoes grow, you know, you tension your string accordingly and keep wrapping up around the tomato. This string been here last season. This tomato was sitting here, and the string should say, so this tomato in the plant here is perfect. So even though this in the middle, I just pull it back to the end closer to the tomato. And yeah, wrap it around it, and that's how you wanna go to give it an early start to start to, so grow itself around the string. So it protect. As you can see all these already. This one plant the other day, so you can see it's pulling on the string already. It's my slip knot, so I will just take my string, loosen it some more here, get it off, and as you see now, I pull this strong, tighter. See, I get that more tension. Man, that's actually real tight, guys. See how tension my string is? So then, yeah, you can always grow this tomato all the way up high, vertical, and you get off that extra, those extra limb of the plant that's not growing any food, which call is sucker. So I'm just wrapping this around a bit, and then always create my same slip knot type of thing in it, so that we can re-loose it. See that? All tight. It's a bit slack, but I'm not worrying about this. But yeah, you get the drift. Like I said, as I go, or as these plants go, I'm getting rid of these extra limb. Can always go back to the soil and feed in the soil. So yeah, this is it for our container. Transplanting, from container to the ground, as far as tomato go. So that's some Roma tomato. We have a lot going in just this small space at the moment. So you get the picture in that regard, that vertical growing. Try not to step too much as I remember that I plant some basil in this spot. So you can see some of them, it's already coming up. Hopefully that's what they are. But I think so though, because there was nothing else here coming up in the sense of these are new soil. So assuming that is some of our basil seed is popping. But yeah, we have quite a few plants going here. Got a lot more marigold, companion plant. A little bit of pest control as well. These are our Taste Master tomato. It's another species. There's some extra Roma tomato, which I have so much already. These kale I need to get in the ground, as well as these Brussels sprout. Dying to come away from the seed starter, guys, you can see. So yeah, as you can see, these are just a tip of the plants, and these are all from seed, guys. Remember, you check back that live earlier in the season. It was cold time of the year. We start all these from seeds. And a lot of these seeds, guys, are from the dollar store seed, so you know what I mean. Some chamomile, definitely a nice pollinator in the garden side here as well. And as you know, chamomile is great for relaxing. It's anti-inflammatory. It helps smooth the body in that regard. So. But yeah, the process continues as far as, like my next step is gonna be that get this tripod down in here again. My next step is gonna be those Better Boy tomato. So it's basically the same concept. Check this out, guys. Isn't this cool? So last season I had to make this. Let me get this actually taking out again. Tripod. But, they always said another man trash is another man treasure as well. These guys are literally finding it at the gas station the other day. By the dumpster, they were, somebody dump it. Losing my tomato. Tomato steak, or whatever steak they can be, but they were leaning against this old car and the wind blew them over. But anyway, somebody was dumping this thing, guys. And honestly, last season this groove was open. That's the reason why I put this thing here, to try to detour the groundhog from coming in. But man, Whether he would have just jump over this thing, he don't care. I don't know. But last season the groundhog was still giving me trouble anyway. So this is really just, I had them. They're I think metal that they use to keep away birds from going up in roof and in attic and those spot. But I have them, so I thought maybe putting it on the ground, the groundhog would wanna crawl around and walk. But anyway, he was coming in and jumping over. He didn't care. This his spot, his territory. So then you see me, I put this fencing around. You can see it's all around this little perimeter of this garden bed. Except it came, and that's where it stopped at this side. This is my a little compost bay, guys. You see me working this compost bay as well. But I'm gonna move it and create a permanent compost bay out of pallet. If you even go on YouTube, you can see compost bay that they made out of pallets. Just simple, using the pallet for pallet, for support. As far as more tree frame, the back frame and the two side, the front piece, yes, is gonna be like your entrance. Some people doesn't even use that, rather than just having, like kind of like how this is right now. The back and the two side. But the one I'm gonna make, we're gonna have 4. So even here, I would have a basically you can see a door or an entrance. But anyway, this is where our fencing come. Man, guys, you should have seen. You have to check back this video as far as the early part of the live. We sharpen our machete and we get this thing chopped. But anyway, this is where the end of this thing come and stop, and I put it to sit. Let me go from the other angle so that we don't have this crazy angle from the video. And container gardening is gonna be great this season, guys. But yeah, this is where it came, and as you see, that's the other end. But then the way that this section of the compost bay came, kind of meet, so it wasn't a big gap, guys. So when I saw this, I really didn't know what I'm gonna do with it, in the sense that I was like, maybe I use it for a chalice. Maybe I use it for something. I don't know that something garden. And then I came and actually wasn't thinking, in the sense that, this can work here, but then I lean it up against here, and then I'm like, what's going on here? Come on now. You know what I mean? And first it wasn't even anchor. As you can see, you kind of lift it, and this part you can actually bring in so that it stay locked. You use this button to move and open it. But I'm not, you don't have to get all that get into all that extra, but still, you just need to kind of pull in a bit, and then you got that option. But either way, guys, you kind of lift it a bit, and then it open. Because even right now, if you try to pull it, it doesn't come. You can also lift it a bit, with that groove. And man, look at that. So it does fit perfect. So even if I don't do much, and especially if I don't move my compost bay, even if I do, I would just bring something to meet this section so that we have a whole secure section of our garden. But for right now, guys, it's pretty cool. And the groundhog couldn't just come and enter this section here. You have this nice gate here. So yeah, another man trashes, another one treasure. So I'm happy that I saw that, and it came in handy. The same thing like that shelf right there. It's a metal shelf. I'm gonna be using it, as well as these metal stake here. I don't even have any great plan for these yet, or what exactly I'm gonna do with them. But it seems to be where they were some type of chalice, or maybe not chalice, some type of framing for something. So as I mentioned, chalice, I maybe could build a chalice, and depends on what. I'm gonna grow watermelon this season, so who knows? Maybe I can create like a a whole chalice and something for my watermelon to climb on, and not running on the ground, that type of stuff. Especially if I can get this and it's not too high, so you can sit going across, so watermelon can climb on. But just anything. But either way, I took them up, and I know they're gonna come in handy. This is a nice stand. I'm gonna wash it off, maybe sand it off a little bit with a nice texture sander or sandpaper, probably spray it, give it a nice color. With a silver or gold, give it a nice finish so that it look more clean and presentable. But yeah, this is gonna be a nice stand to stage my seedlings, as it go. And and this guy is pretty high. They're pretty high apart in the sense that, like for example, I've seen somebody on the internet with a grow setup for seedling and they have lights. Like they have some grow light that you can anchor easily. Some of them are magnetic even that you can put. So imagine if you have grow light guys in all underneath each of these, you can start your seed. Because no matter what, you can start plant and obviously get success from a window. But the best success you can get, guys, having a little grow light. Don't let anybody fool you in the sense of, oh, you just need light from the window. It's all good, and when it's said and done, after a while, those plants start to get, tall and lanky, and just not much body, because it's not much light to support it. So it's trying to reach for light. So it overgrown itself in the sense of staying, more small, bushy. So that's what you get sometimes when you try to grow plant inside, not having the proper lighting. I think that's the most important part of trying to grow inside. Is having a good lighting. Obviously, you need good oxygen airflow as well. But even without airflow, in the sense that I had mine in a little tent and I didn't even have a fan at the moment. Because obviously it's not like you're growing the food to the stage of reaping. You know what I mean? So then you don't necessarily have to need fan. Now if you're growing production, in the sense of food and it was having bearing on it, maybe with all that humidity and the extra that it'll create, having a fan would help your space and your plant more. You'd most likely less run into mold and all that type of thing. But that's why airflow come in and move in the air, when you start growing in a tent inside or something, obviously. But still I didn't use no fan and my plants was all great, as you can see. These are all example of what my indoor light did for me. So that and that's the thing, guys. In the beginning I have this cheap bulb. It really wasn't nothing special. It was LED, but it was so small. And then I got a Mars Hydro. Somebody brought over Mars Hydro, and I finished it off with that. And man, that Mars Hydro kick these off. You know what I mean? And even these baby marigold at one point was sitting underneath it and getting a good start. And for example, guys, if I would take this baby marigold and put them underneath that light within 2 weeks, man, it's like a miracle. Within 2 weeks, that light would transform these things into monsters. Especially if you're running the light like on a 24-hour basis. Get those to make those seedling in some water. It's just extra seedling, guys, from the root, the floor there that came up by themselves. And I'm really not trying to save all the seedling. Some I might save for the love of plant, and but you can always save them all. And this would be awesome if I didn't plant any seedling 2 months ago and have them already extra be so big. And obviously it's like plant for free. But for now I have to just show them my appreciation and my love, in the sense that I may not use all of them. So unfortunate in that regard. But yeah, earlier I moved this thing. I'm literally gonna turn this into a little planter, guys. Whether I'm gonna put some herbs in it, some type of spice, or vegetable. I could see a couple nice head of lettuce growing in this thing. So I'm just gonna utilize small things like this as far as container growing. Show you guys that the sky is the limit as far as growing food into small spaces. Like, guys, for example, I have this video I'm gonna share with you soon, or this moment. It's gonna be basically my first harvest of the season. But it's a perfect example to show you guys what that is all about, in the sense of, you really can grow food in little to no space, in a sense. I mean, some people like, oh, I don't have any space to garden. I wish I had space. You can get food growing in small space, guys. Whether you have a balcony, whether you just have a little room, once you can set down a cup or a little container like this, you still can grow something. It might not be the production that everybody else have.
Hello, Moto.
Here. Can't be answering that right now. Might not be the production that everybody get, but you will get something. I guarantee you. So these container example are gonna be a perfect example of how you can grow in container and get. So I'm definitely gonna full this off soil and grow medium, grow some type of food in it, some vegetable or something or some spice. You know, maybe some spice or like I said, a head of lettuce. But yeah, these it's all our machete here, guys, that we're working with today. So if you missed the first part of the video, and I'm gonna reload this one on my channel, so you can go and take it in future. Time to come. You know, so if you missed the live, you still have time. I still have chance to see what we're doing here. And oh yeah, these are all our machete that we have. Some is really just extra right now as far as, you know, part of our little stash. But for now, this one is the one that we're working with this season. It's gonna be our handy every day go to one. Oppose to my friskers, I definitely will continue using my friskers. You know, as I expressed to you how much is beaten up, and it's really my go-to machete for taking the beating. You can see all that is from cutting in you know, rock stone, hitting rock stone or metal or something. You know, so this is gonna be my everyday beaten one. And after I sharpen this, I'm gonna be more cautious with it, be more careful as far as not go chopping into rock stone or something, you know. And these are my extras. So yeah, we have quite a few machete here, and imagine if a couple years ago the landscaper, they didn't steal my first one I was using, which was one of these one. More older, you know, already was working. Because after a while, guys, you sharpen these things, you know, they get smaller. You know, like you literally see this machete is that big, thick, you know, right now, or that big. I've seen machete sharpen over the years that you can just see a little piece, you know, like half of what this size is. You know, after you start to work, you start to use it and sharpen. That's where most of it go into, does obviously sharpen down the metal to get a sharp blade. You know, every time you sharpen it, it starts taking off a little bit much of it. So if you work it for years, after a while, you'll get smaller. It's kind of funny to see, you know, an old machete, to see how much work going into a machete. You know what I mean? So imagine this thing almost the size of a knife, years of use. But yeah, it was too bad that those guys came in the yard and steal my machete a couple years ago. You know, that wasn't a good thing. But you know, being a landscaper, honestly, if you don't have machete, obviously I could see where you want to steal somebody else's machete, in the sense that it's a great tool to have. You know what I mean? Once you go out there in the wild, in the jungle, in the sense of, you know, doing landscaping in yards, here and there you might need a machete and stuff. So yeah, that's why they steal my machete. But that wasn't cool, because you know, you can't just come in somebody's yard. And they were working in the neighbor next door, and then they steal the machete from my yard, because then they were coming over my yard. They were cutting down trees by the neighbor, so they were coming over my fence to like leverage their rope and to get the angle right in cutting the trees. And in that sense, they saw my machete outside and they stole it. You know, and yeah, that wasn't cool, because that's the thing, you know, they were working and I respect their work, that I allowed them to step over my fence and come in my yard. And I didn't say anything about that. They were right outside my kitchen window. And after they gone, I couldn't find my machete nowhere. And I searched everywhere, and here we are years later. If the machete was in the yard somewhere, I would still come across it, you know. But I never seen it since. So they took it. And definitely wasn't a cool thing for them to do. If I wanted to be uncool, I could have told them not to step in my yard when they were doing the tree by the neighbor. But you know, being a loving neighbor and peaceful person, I didn't bother them, you know, I leave them alone, and that was the consequence, them stealing my tool. So needless to say, these came all the way back from Jamaica. Not at the same time, this one literally I have this from 2013. But this is such a special machete, guys, in the sense that it's not your everyday one that you go chop grass with or whatever, you know. Most people you see with one of this, some guys that go out in the jungle a lot and chop a lot of trees, you know, a lot of deforestation as far as people who gorilla grow out there in the jungle, you know, in Jamaica obviously. People plant urban gorilla grow in the jungle, in the mountains. So a bigger hooky like this is pretty heavier. It's good for that purpose. Chopping thicker trees, heavier branches, you know, cutting firewood, all that, cutting log. You know, so that's really what Machete is about in that sense. So yeah, if you're joining the live, you know, subscribe to my channel. Earlier we were demonstrating how I start my vertical tomatoes and how I get going on those. These are all Roma tomato at the moment, guys. Even these that I didn't start came up from last season. Some I'm gonna save, some I'm not gonna, cause guys, as I expressed, there's just so much tomato I have, and I do have more even in the house or on the other side of the house as well. And just as much tomato, I have a lot of marigold to go in between. Kind of like here, guys, you know, guys. It's a nice little floss of marigold I put in it, but these marigold, they were in the seed starter a little bit too long. You know, as you see, they kind of overgrown in the seed starter, so they kind of lanky. They need more space and just need to get going in the soil to create more body. But you know, plants is funny, guys, and as you see these blooming, they're beautiful. Obviously, I don't want to get rid of them, but that's also what putting stress on the plant, because they're focusing on creating this bloom, or to keep the bloom alive. So then the plant itself staying smaller in the sense that the production of the plant is going into making the bloom right now, or to sustain the bloom. So if I do come right now and cut off this bloom, this plant will blow up in the next, you know, couple of days. And you know, that's exactly what I'm gonna do with some of them actually. You know, because we can always get bloom as it go, but I can see how this is stunning this plant right now if I'm having this bloom. So sorry plant, I love you guys, but some of your bloom is just gonna have to go, and it will make for future better blooming. You know, so you know, sometimes you have to make that little extra sacrifice in the sense, you know, guys, to get better result. And that's for many plants. You know, so pruning like that in the sense will just send that energy to the plant root and the growth of the plant instead of trying to sustain the bloom. So then the plant will get bigger quick. You know. You can see, like for example, these ones doesn't even start blooming too much as yet. You know, so it's a good way to prune it. To, you know, to keep it down. You know, like for example, these ones, which I'm gonna be putting these in the ground, you know. So after they go in the ground, you know, that will give them that chance to start to grow more vigorous. You know, and, I don't really necessarily want to get rid of all of the bloom, as putting them down in the garden now, having bloom early is good to attract beneficial insect. You know, so that's the mission. So we're gonna continue down the line here shortly as far as adding in some more tomato. You know, so far we got 2, 4, 6, that's 7 still. So it's a row of all 7 guys. So 3, 7, 21. Is that what we would say? That's a lot of tomato as far as, you know, this is one species, which is the Roma. We'll make a lot of sauce. Definitely give away a lot of tomato as far as anyone may come along and we can share with us here. So, you know, as far as food, having more is better than less. You know, who can really deny that? You know, but if I go from this angle, you can see more in the sense that what I had going. But it's funny, go guys, how this can be in perspective. This thing obviously is on a hill, so you can see that this is leaning, you know, in the sense. But if you look at that perspective, even more so. But yeah, that's our tomato that we have going so far, and then you can see I create them so that I can anchor them up with my string. It's a vertical way of growing tomato, so you can grow a lot more tomato in smaller space. So in as they grow and between the season, you're gonna go in and get rid of the extra limb, get rid of the sucker, all the stuff that's not bearing any food, thin out the tomato, so you have them going straight up more instead of falling over. So they're gonna be supporting all by this string. And as you know, as the tomato get bigger, heavier, you lose the string and get more tension on it, create a more stronger structure. These guys are all perennial plant. Oh, I can't wait for these to bloom to show you. I mean, I'm sure you guys know them. It's kind of like an onion plant. A great pollinator for bees, butterfly, and all that. So I'm excited for these plants. I got them from somewhere. I propagate them and brought them to the yard. So these are gonna be a great addition as far as pollinator around the garden bed. Now we have one more over there as well. I have quite a few of them different spots around the yard, and I had some the other day that I took as well. That's still in planter that I need to transplant. But it's funny, guys. Earlier I was working the Machete section. As you can see, this is what my video was based on today. Was the main mission. So you go back and check out the video. As you can see, when I was putting in the handle on this Machete sharpener, R2 sharpener, aka file is the nickname for it. But this one I wedge this stake, which is a part of a broom map stick handle or whatever. So that I use as far as shaping and wedge it, go all the way in this, so that we could have driver metal file in it. It doesn't split out. But as you can see, it still tried to split it. Even though I put it in the metal, but it couldn't do much, obviously supported by the metal. So go check out the video when I do upload it, and you can see from the beginning of the live. A safe way to sharpen your machete. And obviously how I put the handle on this one. But for example, guys, that's what I'm showing you. So you see this this is my smaller one. And you see it was already splitting the wood for me driving it. So either I continue, it would have split it all the way. Obviously I could put a tire on it to support it, but I try to make it pretty as I can, you know what I mean? But yeah, I thought maybe if I did drill a small hole in it, it would have still give it a better chance instead of trying to drive this thing down in the wood. If it was green, that's another easier way as well. But true, this is a dry stick. Obviously had some cracked in it going already. So needless to say that this wasn't finished, but you get the gist as far as putting handle into it. But this one is the more heavy duty one, and especially for a machete. This one is good for machete and more heavier tool. So we're gonna be sharpening this 26-inch. It's called 26 nickname for the machete. I was still using my Friskers. Is the main one that I was using, and I'm still gonna be using it a lot. As you can see how much beaten up it got. From chopping and rock. Metal, who knows, anything in the yard that you shouldn't chop on. So I'm gonna be using this as my beta one. And then my new one is more gonna be for more simpler job where where it's not getting beaten up with rockstone. But yeah, I sharpen this early and then I get rid of these bushes, extra growth that was here, and see I chop them up in that pile. I'm gonna be burning that pile, which I then realize free up this space, but potentially, who knows, maybe give me more idea for opening up a bigger garden space. Okay, guys, this is just land that's just going to waste, really. Obviously these trees are a problem. I fall over. I'm looking to get rid of some of these branches, actually. Whatever I use, I don't know. I literally even feel like going up on a ladder, and using a handsaw and cutting some of these limbs, as well as my machete, obviously. But these are blocking a lot of sunlight coming over. And if I do start to come closer in the back, obviously, if I burn this, create a more space, you don't want to have plant growing with trees over, because for some reason, guys, that always try to create more mold, and whatever plant would be growing underneath the tree, from all that extra moisture. And when rain fall, for some reason, especially if you start seedling and not have young plants underneath this tree in a bed, for some reason when it rain and the rain drop fall off the tree, opposed to like if it was open in the open air and it falling from the sky, it's more delicate than the plant. But if for some reason, guys, if it fall off the tree, it damage your plant. It's almost like hail, like the tree create like a hail ball of rainfall. Then you end up with plant leaf damage, or just your plant getting beaten up extra. But anyway, I was looking at this earlier. I honestly want to say that this is actually one of the same plant. You know, that same. It is have to be the same plant around by the front that I just show you, that pollinator plant. But earlier I was noticing it that it was here and I was moving earlier when I was sharpening the machete and step on it. But there's no other plant, guys, that could have this smell, because this plant have a strong onion smell. And if you, let me go back and see. I show you guys. It's gotta be the same plant. I didn't remember that I put one over there. But yeah, it's the same plant, you know. Same leaf, same smell. But I just didn't know that it was in the back here and I almost killed it. I'm stepping on it. As you can see, I was cutting down these extra bushes earlier when I sharpened the machete and was demonstrate working it. So as we establish that this is here, I'm just gonna clean this spot from around it and mold her up, you know. And you know, but typical time, guys, you know, when I sound like it's a gender thing, you know, but I use her a lot for plants. As obviously, guys, is the truth, you know. Most plant that produce, only plant that produce is the female plant. The male plant is really just for like sexing and pollinating, in the sense of getting the female plant to produce flower. Sometimes you need that male plant or that cross pollination. But male plant, guys, doesn't give food. You know, male plant doesn't bear fruit for the most. You know, you typically rarely have a plant species that bear food once it's a male. So you'd hear me a lot saying she opposed to a plant, because I'm just used to that, especially, you know, different herbs and spice. If you plant a tree, guys, like a fruit tree, and your fruit tree can become male. I don't know if you can reverse a male for it to bear food, but if you have a fruit tree and it become male, you might as well cut it down, because all it's gonna do is blossom. You know, if you want it to stay around for pollinator or for, you know, pollinating and cross pollination with the other trees, then that's different. But a male plant is not gonna produce any fruit. So that's the reason why I always say her to a plant, in the sense that associate it more plant to a female in that regard. That, you know, it's the true reality of nature, that you do need a female plant to produce. Especially people, you know, if you know marijuana, for example, not to, you know, to highlight that too much, in the sense that I remember one time I shared a video and there was some in the background on YouTube send me a message. Even my channel wasn't even nothing. I thought that I was like, oh, who would pay me no mind? I didn't know that YouTube was watching. They actually sent me a thing, you know, warn me about striking and what's not for kids. And that's the thing, guys. I may that video, I may not have choose the option and say this is not for kid. So right away it was more open. So then I share it. So then it's almost like it create that instance that I'm just sharing random video that have stuff that is not kid friendly. So they send me a warning on that. It was my first warning. It wasn't a strike yet, but it was a warning. Which then I think I private that video on my channel. It's still up there, but I private it. But I was showing a little bit too much into marijuana or into that type of plant. So yeah, I'm just kind of molding her up, and now that I recognize that it's here, I don't have to step on it anymore. See, as I clean those extra weeds from around it as well. Side is kind of a little bit rocky, guys, as you can see. That's kind of why I didn't push back too much in the back. But honestly, that's this kind of how this section it was like. Some of the rock I remove, you know, slowly as I went, and I was you know, developing the area. Over the time I get rid of some of the rock. I have to move mine a while ago. The mosquito was biting on my elbow here. Mosquito can be crazy, you know, but yeah, get it nice and all up so that I don't come back and step on it anymore. As it's definitely one of those pollinator plant, guys. It makes sense that I was trying to put it around the different section of the perimeter just to attract all the beneficial insects and bugs. But yeah, I feel like we have really accomplished a lot in this live. I'm gonna continue planting my food, and as I express that, see how sharp my shit can be, guys. That's three strike, and still have the tripod in my hand, so it's not even the best leverage. But it's an example to show you if your machete is sharp, and I have to repeat again that it's dangerous and can definitely hurt yourself. So you're messing with machete, even though you hear me preaching it a lot here, that it's a great tool. Make sure you always handle with very, very safe precaution. And I don't want you to come back and say that Nick from Yardman Garden and Arts TV introduced you to machete and you cut yourself. You know, because you saw what I'm doing with that tree branch, and you know, apart from our bone, our flesh is not tougher than a tree branch. So always be mindful of that machete and be cautious. That it is a powerful tool. See that, guys? I was stepping over this a while ago and this thing itch my clothes and lose my balance. Oh yeah, it's just the beauty of gardening, guys. For example, last season, see some catnip. But you know, catnip is a special plant. Obviously called catnip. The cat love it for real because it's almost like a high for the plant, for the cat. You know, this is like cat drugs or something. So it does give them that hyper feeling and that energy boost. You know, so if you give catnip, they get lively, running around like crazy type of thing. Yeah, so that's what this is, guys. But catnip is also a medicinal plant. We can consume it. We can make tea from catnip. It's actually another relaxing type of plant. But guys, it's actually a type of mint. It's what catnip is. And also that is a great pollinator. Attract a lot of bugs, and it's also repel certain unwanted pests from your garden. So that's why I even add, you know, something like this around my garden perimeter as a multi-purpose plant. You know, so even if I'm not cutting this, giving cat, you know, and some insect and bad for the garden doesn't love the smell of catnip, as well as these are some mint, you know, surrounding my garden perimeter. So it's a good barrier, you know, surrounding this garden space here. You know, and just me cutting down this extra green that was here make a big difference. You know, but I remember when I came here, guys, in 2013, all this was bush and hill as far as forest. You know, it was dense, worse than what you're seeing here. Even through here, I came and cut some trees and some things that I needed to make this area more flat. And as you can see, this is some type of lily plant. Still losing my foot in here, guys. I'm on the hill and I'm stepping and slide the leaf. But these are some type of lily plants, so I did leave these more for the ground covering. But over the years, guys, I've worked this land from day one, getting rid of wild stuff, wild bush. That was just not serve no purpose until even before I came to the idea of putting this garden bed on the hillside here. So you know, as you can see, it come down. Probably I look on the neighbor side in that regard. So I did speak with them a bit in that time and say, hey, I'm gonna work this area a little bit more and start to plant more food on this hillside here. And yeah, that's the best thing I ever done as far as creating more space. But these trees are starting to be a problem, guys, because when I came, this tree, for example, was maybe a little bit over this shed right here. Like maybe what you see hanging was like almost like the top of the tree, in the sense of it was a small tree. You know, and look at it now. You know, coming all the way out here. So it's, you know, this doesn't get small, you know. I mean, something like this is just gonna keep getting big and big. And then, for example, these big trees in the back, guys. I mean, I love plant and all that, you know, and trees have to grow. But these same thing, this was like a bad weed, bad plant, bad tree. Probably just blown from the forest somewhere. And nobody moved it. It was just between the fence, you know. And yeah, that's what you get. See that one there beating on the fence? What do you think break down the fence there, you know, over time? Trees. So trees are awesome, guys, but you know, trees is important if you plant in a spot where it's not giving trouble. So then, you know, you realize that you don't have to cut down trees more, or they're not getting in your way. Well, yeah, this little that I do here today in this spot, create more room, more light in the garden, and just more beauty in that regard, you know. So, yeah, still have a lot to go, lot more to plant. And we have our taste master, and those are our better boy tomato. So also a quick growing tomato. These are all our Roma. It's already in the soil. Yeah. Needless to say that we have a special thing here going. Anyway, down on the valley. Here is my machete that I worked with today. You know, so a beautiful thing, beautiful day overall. And I'm feeling airy. So if you didn't make it to catch this live, you know, you can always look at the rewatch that I'm gonna share and upload on the channel. So stay tuned. There's a lot going on. This is just the tip of it. We're gonna be over by the garden a lot as well. Gonna be doing a lot of container growing this season. So like I said, we still have more to go. But this live, I'm gonna end it here and probably start a new live later in the front yard. We have some cool thing going in the front yard. We're gonna take you in more close to that as well. You know, so bring this thing back here and show you all our machete that we're working with today. So if you go back and check the live video, when I do upload it, in the beginning is more action as far as especially with these machete, cutting down those extra weed. I'm gonna burn a nice pile here, which I wanna do it sooner than later in the sense before I have plants coming. Even though it's a good because few feet from my fence line there at my garden, I don't want the heat to, you know, destroy near my plants. So even probably before I start the fire, I kind of push it over more, you know, in the middle more over there. And that's the thing, guys. When I burn this, you know, even if I don't plant food right here, I can always start with pollinator plants, you know, any plant, perennial pollinator that come back. Pest control plant as well that help, you know, repel pests from coming in my garden and attract beneficial insect and bugs, you know. So more pollinator plant, more than weeds growing. Even this tree right here would have been a pollinator plant. Instead, it gets so bushy. Sometimes almost meeting coming over my garden side here, and it was bigger, you know, by the time I have cut it and prune it. But today I sharpened my machete here, which is my Frisker's machete. Every day run around machete, and this is gonna be my go-to work one for the season. So if you do miss this live, you know, stay tuned and look out for this video when I upload it. You can see all the action from the beginning. And if you're just joining the live, you know, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed as yet. I greatly appreciate that. We have a lot going throughout the season, and you know, it's just gonna get better. So stay tuned, stay blessed. Peace to the people. I appreciate all my new subscriber that is coming around, supporting the journey as well. You know, and all my older subscriber have been rocking with me over the years. You know, stay tuned. Look forward to a lot more here at the garden, and you know, all peace and all love to the people, and just all that good vibration. You know, so it's all positivity over here, all love and support, and a community in the sense. And as I mentioned, community. There's a lot going on at the community garden. So check out all those new uploads as well. You know, you might see something that you really like. As far as there's a lot of volunteering I've been doing and helping out the elderly as well. So stay tuned. You know, there's a lot gonna be happening at the community garden. So look out for some great content at the community garden, and you know, some super chill moment. You know, you might learn a lot as far as gardening go and just be a part of the community is what, you know. So love to my people. Bless to everyone. Stay tuned and look out forward for a lot more. All right, catch you on the next video. And true, I have the tripod turning on me. I go to push the X. As you can see, my finger is coming up in the screen. So either way, you can see my little um, dirty fingers, you know, working the land. It's just a part of it. Can't get over that, you know. So better yet, keep it grounded. Even wear barefoot when you're outside as well, especially in this time. You know, so can't go wrong. So stay blessed. One love to my people. See you on the next video. Stay tuned.